Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about currently what the electoral map looks like, the road to 270, if you will, looks like for 2020. We are still very early out. We are not even close to knowing who the Democratic nominee is, which will be a very big factor. Um, so this is a lot of speculation, but you can tell by approval ratings a lot of things. Um, if Trump's approval ratings are really crap, where he won, then it could be rough. Um, if it's maybe better than it was in 2016, then he'll probably do better. If it's around the same, then I would probably rate it close to the same. Um, I will have some toss-ups because there are some races that I'm not willing to call this early. As you can see, I already filled in the races that I consider safe. I'm pretty sure all of these races will go to the respective parties they are filled in, unless if something very drastic happens. But regardless, let's get this started. So first, let's start with likely Republicans. Georgia, I would say, is likely Republican. Brian Kemp doesn't help right now, but ultimately, I think Georgia will rebound and go back into the semi-solid Republican territory as usual. Um, Likely Republican. Nebraska too. Nothing too crazy with that. It's usually ending up being Republican regardless. It's only went for the Democrat once, since it's been split up. Um, I believe that's it for the Republicans. On the Democratic side, we have the state of Virginia. I have likely Democratic. It may eventually reach safe, especially taking a look at Tim Kaine's absolute blowout. Um, but we'll have to see. We can't tell this early if anything will change that much. Next is Maine 2. Well, Maine, sorry, all of Maine, I would say is likely Democratic like usual. We'll see what happens there. Um, I believe that is all for the likely for both sides. Now we're going to move into the leaning. Usually I would say the leaning could go either way. Leaning and toss-ups can go either way. Um, but regardless, we can do our best. First, the biggest prize left, Texas, I would say, is still lean Republican. Beto O'Rourke pulled it very close in the state of Texas, but I still don't think that Democrats are there yet. It is trending more and more Democratic in Texas. However, I don't think they're there yet. Um, Iowa and Ohio right now are Ohio especially is actually favorable of the president. Iowa and Ohio usually vote together. Um, Overall, I think Trump may win a little bit more narrow in the state of Iowa, potentially, but I think his lead may actually grow from 2016 in the state of Ohio. Um, Now for the Democrats, state of Minnesota has not went Republican in a long, long time. That does not mean it will never go Republican again. It could very well go Republican for Trump in 2020. Um, the state is becoming less and less Democratic. It is very much a toss-up. Democratic leaning toss-up, that is. But I would say this definitely could go either way. Nevada, people usually characterize it as a toss-up, but if you take a look at the Senate and governor's races, the Democrats won fairly handily, so I believe this is part of a trend of Nevada becoming more and more Democratic as time goes on. Also, we have the state of Colorado, which I believe is leaning Democratic at this point. They got a new there was no incumbent uh, governor, and they elected a Democrat, which usually that's a pretty decent bellwether at the very least. Um, but regardless, I think that Colorado will probably stick to its Democratic identity. Now let's scroll down here a little bit. Let's get the just safe, just so we can characterize a lot easier with a lot less clicking. First thing I'm going to do, obviously, the Rust Belt in my mind right now is toss-up. People said Trump had no chance in 2016 to pick up the Rust Belt. He's obviously did pretty well. He won all 3 Rust Belt states. His approval rating is not the best there. He is in the negatives, but he's also in the negatives in Iowa as well. So you have to keep that in mind. State of North Carolina, I believe, is a toss-up, Republican-leaning toss-up at this point. Well, Republican tilting. I would say these are Democratic tilting right now. Michigan, I could see staying red. Pennsylvania, I think, might be a little bit bluer this time around. Wisconsin, I have no idea what's going to happen. But state of North Carolina, leaning Republican in my, well, tilting Republican. I don't want to say lean because it's still definitely a toss-up. But Republicans just need to maintain what they're doing. The state of Florida is always a toss-up. However, if you trust exit polls, the exit polls in Florida had Trump with a positive approval rating in Florida. It was like 51 to 48. And this was in a midterms that very much so had Democratic turnout more excited. There were many polls showing that Democrats were more excited than Republicans for the midterms, and they still didn't have enough. Like Florida was still slightly Republican. So I think that's a good omen for Republicans. State of Arizona. State of Arizona had no incumbent senator, and the senator ended up being slightly Democratic, Kristen Sinema. After a while, they eventually called it. But the governor absolutely killed their Democratic opponent, I believe around 14 points, I want to say. So Arizona is a tough state to call. People have been saying it'll be more and more Democratic as time goes on. I will have to see if that is the case. New Hampshire, Trump lost the state by 2,000 votes. I think his approval rating is slightly negative, but he could improve on that. People could always use the lesser of two evils depending on who the Democratic nominee is. And finally, we have Maine second. Maine second's Republican incumbent got voted out. I believe Bruce Polkwin was one of the people who won. I think Bruce Polkwin might have been the Democrat who won. I could be wrong on that, but the Republican incumbent in the 2nd District got voted out. So if I'm Trump, I'm not feeling as confident as I did in 2016 for District 2. So thanks for watching. The Democrat ends with 228 and Trump with 204, neither one hitting the magic number of 270. Thanks for watching this video. Comment down below what you think. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all later.